when I started my law firm, I used to have a problem very frequently. And something happened recently that reminded me of that problem. When we talk about what happened recently, then we go back to the problem I used to have when I started my law firm. Now, there's a company called Nvidia. For those who don't know Nvidia is one of the biggest companies in the world, and they are into AI chip designing and manufacturing. So I think early this month, I think on the 3rd of this September 2024, the share price of Nvidia fell by 9%. And when the share price fell, a lot of persons were trying to find out why it fell. And the immediate reason that came up is that the Department of Justice of the US served a summon on Nvidia in respect of their possible antitrust activities, alleging summary that they are trying to be a monopoly. So that is the immediate reason. But when I was digging and trying to find out the reason why Nvidia had that share price drop, I came across something that should raise concern for Nvidia and should be a source of question for every company across the world. And that is the fact that in Nvidia's second quarter report this year, they reported a $30 billion revenue. Okay, in other words, they reported that they received revenue of $30 billion. Now, the worrisome part of this is that out of this $30 billion, 46% came from only 4 companies. So amongst this series of companies that they got revenue from, 46% of the revenue came from only 4 companies. And what risk does this portend? There are suspicions that the 4 companies are Meta, which is Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, and Tesla. And the issue really is that Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet, which is Google, they are developing their own microchips right now, trying to develop their own AI chips right now. If they succeed in developing their own AI chips, and Nvidia is so reliant on them for a large chunk of their revenue, what is going to happen to Nvidia when they succeed in developing their own microchips? Of course, the consequence is going to be that Nvidia's revenue is going to drop drastically. Now, this took me back to what used to happen when I started my law firm. And this is what used to happen. I started my law firm in 2016. And when I started, I had a few clients, and a whole large chunk of that clients were coming from the lower spectrum of society, while a few clients were coming from the higher level or higher echelon of society. That means they were rich. Few rich clients, a couple of clients that were not rich. Okay? So I discovered then that whenever I had a capital project to carry out in the firm, to develop the firm, to do anything in the firm, or I had a personal capital project to carry out in my life, that would require some money, I would be waiting for those rich clients to come for me to render a service to them in order for me to do what I needed in my private life or to do what I needed to develop my firm. So I was having that up and down back then. If they don't show up or they disappoint me, of course, I cannot carry out what I needed to carry out. So it was a kind of tricky situation. The situation that happened with Nvidia and what happened with my firm could happen with any business. And there is something called customer concentration. And your customer concentration is how your company's revenue is spread across your customers. So if you have 1,000 customers that patronize you this month or this year, this quarter, how is the revenue spread across those 1,000 companies or 100 companies or 50 companies that patronize you? Did one of those 50 companies bring 70% of your revenue? So if a few companies are contributing a large chunk of your revenue, your customer concentration is unhealthy. There are 3 questions I ask every business person to ask themselves today. The first of those 3 questions is, what is your customer concentration? Okay, you need to find out what your customer concentration is. Secondly, Is your customer concentration healthy? If it is not healthy, that means there are a few clients who are bringing a large chunk of money you're getting. If it's healthy, that means your revenues are well spread across clients. Now, if your answer to the second question is yes, the next question that arises is, how do you sustain that your healthy customer concentration? And if the answer is no, the next question is, how do you fix it if your customer concentration is not healthy? So think about these questions, and either way you are, whether it's healthy or unhealthy, you know you have some work to do. I encourage you to do the work of fixing your customer concentration so that it doesn't come to hurt you when the customers that you have can do.